The first signal was a scream dot. It came from deep space. A broadcast filled with static, cries, and something worse, laughter. Sick laughter. Across the galactic network, every species that tuned in went silent as the truth unfolded on their screens. 7 human scientists, not soldiers, were tied down in a Maloric lab. The aliens thought it was a show. They called it biological research. For 3 hours, they live-streamed the experiments, cutting, burning, asking questions while ignoring the screams. The Maloric believed they were untouchable. They were strong, cruel, and feared across many systems. They thought no one could stop them. They were wrong, very wrong. Aboard a diplomatic vessel orbiting the outer edge of the Leora cluster, Ambassador Hajun of the Onari Council stood frozen. He had watched the whole thing, not by choice, by duty. As the lead ambassador between humans and the Galactic Union, he had to report on any interspecies conflict. He had expected trade disputes or border violations. But this was something else. Behind him, his assistant Su'a, a quiet and precise woman with sharp eyes, whispered, "Sir, the rule, it's been broken." Hajun didn't answer. His mind was already racing. Every species in the galaxy had learned the same warning during first contact with Earth. One simple rule, spoken softly but seriously: do not harm humans. To many, it sounded like protection, but those who had lived long enough knew better. It wasn't for Earth. It was for everyone else. Hajun remembered what an old diplomat had once told him. It's not about keeping humans safe. It's about stopping them from showing us what they're really capable of. He hadn't believed it at the time. Now, he wasn't so sure. 72 hours later, Maloric Prime no longer existed, where once stood a proud homeworld of 12 billion Maloric citizens. There was now only dust, floating rocks, a quiet asteroid field spinning where cities used to be. Their sun dimmed, their moons scattered. No weapons had fired. No fleet had arrived. No warnings had been given. Just a single human ship had appeared. No missiles. No beams. Just a message. You broke the rule. Then the world cracked. Not exploded and unmade. The matter itself simply stopped obeying physics. The molecules that held buildings, people, and planets together fell apart. The planet didn't burn. It dissolved like it had never existed, all in less than 6 minutes. Inside his cruiser, Hajun watched the reports come in. 7 planets, 40 industrial stations, over 100 mining platforms, Su'a whispered. Her voice was shaking. Gone. Hajun leaned forward, staring at the data. Any signs of survivors? He asked. None, sir. Not even radiation traces. It's as if they were erased. The bridge was silent. Engineers, pilots, scientists, everyone was staring at their screens. No one spoke. No one breathed too loudly. It was Admiral Yeo Bin, commander of the Terran Response Corps, who finally sent the transmission. Her face appeared on the screen, tired, calm, and cold as winter. Ambassador Hajun, she said, you have confirmed the incident, I assume. I have, Hajun replied. He bowed slightly, trying to keep his voice steady. And I extend deepest condolences for the human lives lost. Yeo Bin didn't blink. The Maloric broke the rule, she said. I understand. But this was beyond anything we have seen. She nodded. It was not punishment, Ambassador. It was prevention. Hajun frowned. Prevention? Of what? Of what would happen next, Yeo Bin answered. If we let ourselves feel everything. She leaned forward slightly. Ambassador, we are not monsters. But we remember what we once were. We chose peace, but peace is a choice. Hurt us, and we'll respond with silence. Not because we are weak, but because we are done talking. That night, Hajun unlocked the restricted archives that every ambassador had access. Few ever dared to open them, but he had to know. He scrolled back centuries. The first incident was with the Korth Dominion. They had wiped out a human colony, thinking Earth would retaliate like any other race. Instead, the human response had done something unimaginable. They hadn't destroyed the enemy's world. They had moved it. The entire planet teleported into deep space, alone and cold. The Korth were still alive, but exiled in the void. A lesson written into the stars. Another record showed the Nexus Syndicate. They had captured humans for entertainment. Gladiator fights, slavery. The humans responded by altering the species. Biology convincing every Nexus being they were allergic to their own air. They had 4 hours to free the captives and apologize. They did, not out of kindness. Out of panic. There were more incidents. Not wars, warnings, quiet ones. Each time, the humans didn't just win. They changed reality. The rule was never about fairness. It was a shield. A barrier to stop the rest of the galaxy from poking a sleeping god. The next morning, Hajun stood before his staff. He cleared his throat. Update our first contact protocol. Move the warning to the very top. Everyone looked at him. What? Should we write, sir? Sua asked. Jun thought for a long time. Then he said, You don't hurt humans. Not because they are protected, but because no one survives the consequences if you do. The galaxy did not sleep that night. Across thousands of star systems, leaders met behind locked doors. News of the Maloric's end had spread fast. It didn't matter that there were no survivors. The message was clear and terrifying. You broke the rule. That was all the human ship had said. One sentence before a whole civilization vanished. Some said it was fake. Others said it was a lie to scare people. But the data didn't lie. The Zarek telescopes, the Aurolian probes, even the ancient watchers of the Silent Reach all confirmed the same thing. The Maloric home system was gone. Not destroyed, erased, as if someone had taken a pen and drawn a black line through a star map. A dark silence spread over the galaxy. For the first time in centuries, peace didn't come from treaties or diplomacy. It came from fear. Ambassador Hajun stood before the Lathari Council. Behind him, high-ranking Onari ministers whispered nervously. Some demanded the humans explain themselves. Others said Earth should be punished for overreacting. Hajun stayed quiet. He knew better now, after what he had seen in the restricted files, after the way Admiral Yeobin had spoken with calm finality. He understood the truth. The rule was not a law. It was a warning, and the Maloric had ignored it. Now they were gone. Ambassador, said Elder Rendar, a thick-scaled being, with violet eyes. Surely you must agree this response was excessive. 12 billion lives were the cost of breaking the rule, Hajun said. Murmurs filled the chamber. Earth does not govern us, snapped Minister V. Tel, a proud voice from the Yunvin. Talari hegemony. They are not above consequence. Xion looked him straight in the eye. They never claim to be above anyone, he replied. They only ask not to be attacked, that's all. V. Tel scoffed. So we all live in fear now? Because Earth might rewrite reality when angry? Hajun paused. Then said, Yes. As the council argued, a new voice echoed across the chamber. Then perhaps fear will keep the galaxy alive. The room went silent. A human had appeared. No guards had stopped her. No sensors had noticed. She was simply there, standing at the center of the floor in her dark navy uniform. Her hair was gray. Her face was calm. It was Admiral Yeo-Bin. Council. Members stood in shock. You were not invited, Rendar started. And yet I am here, she said. Her voice was soft, but it cut through the room like a knife. I've come to speak truth, because the last time you didn't listen. Veitel stood. You destroyed a civilization. Eobin looked at him. No, they destroyed themselves when they thought pain would go unanswered. Why didn't you speak to them first? Someone shouted. We did, Eobin said. Every species hears the rule. We don't hide it. We don't change it. She stepped forward. We give one warning. Always one. The council chamber flickered. Around her, holograms lit up. Dozens of them. Ancient reports. Unseen files. Galaxy-wide secrets. One showed the Korth homeworld drifting alone in dark space. Another showed the Nexus species gasping for breath before falling to their knees. Another showed the Arduin, who had tried to turn a human child into a weapon. Their punishment? Eternal stasis locked in time, never moving, never aging. We do not seek war, Eobin said. We do not rule, we do not expand. All we ask is one thing. She raised her hand, and all the images vanished. Do not hurt humans. Later, aboard the Onari diplomatic vessel, Hajun sat in his quarters. He stared at the screen in front. Of him, still watching, Eobin's message over and over, not because he didn't understand it, but because it was too simple, too final. Humans had once been called weak, soft, small, and yet, when hurt, they responded not with fire, but with reality itself. He remembered one line she had said before leaving the chamber. We don't make war. We make endings. On the other side of the ship, Su'a was updating the official diplomatic guidebook. Her hands were shaking, but her words were firm. At the top of the first contact protocol section, she wrote, You don't hurt humans. Not because they are protected. Not because they are dangerous. But because no one who does. Lives to regret it. Across the galaxy, the message spread. The Vornari Empire canceled its invasion plans. The Tri-Cluster Alliance stopped researching human DNA. The Sol Dominion began building temples not for gods, but for peace. No government admitted they were afraid, but they were, because fear wasn't weakness. It was survival, and in a universe full of predators, monsters, and machines. The most dangerous force of all was a human who had been hurt and decided not to fight back with fists, but with truth, intent, and reality itself. The rule remains simple. Do not harm humans. Do not test their mercy, and do not forget. They only end those who force them to.